Welcome to the Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast and radio show infused with hip hop. I am Wood.
Made daily with organic, farm to table, localized, neuralized, sterilized, Scotch guarded for 2020 repellent, available online, shipped via Amazon, not available on Sundays, but now available on thebeastradio.com. Broken Pencil Logic. You stay classy, internet. I'm Suave Burgundy.
Yeah, man. IMOC continues.
Indeed it does.
And
a continuance has been filed.
The smattering of IMOC giftage has been bestowed upon you on this fine fair day.
This is true. I've been trickling it down to the school children so that they can be properly nourished.
No R. Kelly though.
Yeah. Yeah, the drip is morphine level these days.
Ooh.
So yes,
that's cold blooded.
Yeah, that's cold. The drip is morphine level. The wife put in some work for this IMOC celebration. So I am the newly found acquirer of several different very, very quality WWE shirts, and I have been pairing those with the sneaker binging that I do during IMOC. So yeah, if you'll bear with us, on Instagram.
I'm just now looking at these. Are these Tiger Dunks?
No. So those are from a black-owned sneaker company. They own, design, and manufacture their own sneakers. It is Saya Collective. Saya standing for Somewhere in America. Those were an exclusive that came out.
Saya did these? Bro, I thought
February,
these were Dunks.
Yeah, Saya did those. February 27th, I believe. And they actually got here. It was either on my birthday, or it was either on the 2nd, or it got here the day before. I can't remember.
Let me summarize the flavor here for you. So these are they're in the flavor of quarter top Dunks with the Atmos straps. For those of you who are familiar with Atmos, probably most famously for Kanye back in like 2006, 7, 8, he rocked a red high top pair on stage. This is a like low top Dunk type shoe, almost fits like a Jordan 1. Very Dunk-esque. I mean, and the sole is that of maybe like these the Zooms or the Air Force One, where it has the white upper with the burnt orange lower on the foot. It's
a red trim. The sole and midsole are like reminiscent. I don't know how it comes across on the picture, but they're reminiscent of like just literally a Jordan 1. So think of a low top Jordan 1 / low top Dunk, which is it's completely luxury materials, zebra fur.
Yeah, the toe is more like a bangle, and then the actual foot in the side is more of the zebra fur with the cheetah print on the heel, on the top of the heel.
Yeah, so the zebra and the cheetah are textured. The tiger print is leather. It's all leather inside, so premium inside. You don't get those little sock balls on the inside after however many wears. It's a red waxed shoestrings. Like it is a very
and I set the table for the shoe only for the accent.
The accent is what brings it to life, though.
The Yokozuna Icons logo, which has a picture of Yokozuna with the Japanese or the Polynesian flag behind him, and the flavors with the black shirt with the white trim on the red and Yoko in the middle of it. Man, listen, it's a sneakerhead's paradise here. And you know,
it's a little bit of a flex. It is. I didn't realize because I broke it out and like undensed everything this past weekend.
Flex.
And I didn't realize how much of a flex it was until I took this photo of I didn't even include the bottoms. It's just the shirt and the sneakers. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is That's morphine drip.
Not to be outdone, though.
I'm gonna copyright that. Yeah.
Not to be
Poor
outdone.
man's copyright.
Is the crimson red with the splash white trim, Run DMC Adidas tongue Ewings.
Yeah, so for those of you who are looking for the shoe, it's the Valentine's Day Ewings. It's a red suede, and it's like a hot electric pink. The photos online kind of make you think that it's peach, which is kind of what I thought, but when I got here, it's this hot electric pink, red suede, and then a burgundy sole. And paired that with a new Street Profits t-shirt,
which is fire because I thought it was a tribute. I thought it was an ode to Ron Murray.
Price just went up.
Profits are up with the red solo cup in cartoon format. Mad grill, fingers in the air. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I've even seen them wear this shirt on TV yet.
I've never seen this shirt. This doesn't look like a Street Profit shirt, and the fact that you have it means I can't get it ever unless it's in a different colorway.
Solo cup with the crown. The color, the way the colors, and this happens all the time. Like I'll have either sneakers or I'll have the shirt, and won't buy them at the same time. Won't even realize that it's a fit, and then in my mind I start looking at colors, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this will go. And it's like perfect. This was one of those times. And it like, now mind you, there are several more shirts that have to get paired with sneakers. And I think almost all of them have some type of pairing that I can put together. But yeah, the first two are like very much with the shit.
You please believe that with this imminent purchase of a new headquarters for the Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast and radio show infused with hip hop.
No more tent in the Sportatorium parking lot.
Man, we done came so far beyond the tent in the Sportatorium parking lot. So far beyond Seagulls.
Come on down to Seagulls.
We got hot chips and gin.
You got to bring that out, dust that off one time for
one time for IMOC fam. Please believe
you need to go and put that as a trigger button. Hit that Seagulls one time.
Hot chips and gin. I'm gonna have some room for some shoes in the closet, like some acrylic. I might have to go with like some acrylic boxes, like show boxes or something like that, man. I'm gonna have to get my shoe game back because my formal shoe game is on fire, and I'm slowly slipping back into the athletic world. Like as the more I get into my later years, the more I'm going back. I can't say my later years, my more formidable years, should I say? The more I'm slipping back into my teenage, early 20s, where I would just grab whatever I saw to just look fly and just make it rock with whatever I had in the closet. So, because I've already flexed up my t-shirt game, man. I've been shouts out to my guy Andrew over at BGCapparelcompany.com or BGCapparelco.com, which stands for Breaking Generational Curses. I had to cop a few shirts from that. Shouts out to the Petty Messiah and Gus over at Kings of Cool. I copped a couple of pieces of man. Let me tell you something. That's some quality gear.
I still got a little work to do before I can order from you, and that's an inside joke we done had. Hey, I still got a little more work to do.
Listen, they say that's a luxury buy, and I thought it was a game until I bought mine, and it's a luxury buy, fam. Oh man, the quality is amazing.
That's what's up. I've run through a lot of Saya orders in the last, like a bunch of my pre-orders are coming in. So like, they have first come first serve Saturdays called Saya Saturdays, where you can buy the day it releases. But it's not as frustrating as trying to buy Jordans, but everything moves very quickly. So if you're not on the site ready to purchase, you might miss out.
Yeah.
Usually what he'll do right afterwards, that same day, is put up that same shoe for pre-order so he can, make another order and then they'll be delivered. Typically, what I've seen, it takes about 90 days because, there's factories involved, there's work schedules, XYZ. So, and the big thing amongst buyers and members and all those different things is just trust the process. Because a lot of times if you don't know how long it takes, you assume you've been scammed. And it's like, no, you're just waiting on production when you do a pre-order. If you're buying first come, first serve, you get it like it'll ship out Saturday. You're probably going to get it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just depending on how the post office works. With a pre-order, on average about 90 days. So look, in December, I went stupid. Well, even before that, I went stupid. But in December, I put, a nice little order in. And like now, all of my stuff is starting to hit at the same time. Price
just went up.
1, 2, like in the last week or two, it's been like 4 or 5 packages just hitting at the same time.
Ugh.
So yeah, there's some heat I got to show you that probably won't make Instagram until I actually put together a whole fit and assemble it, because this is facilitate your fresh. I do this on a professional level, but I like to really assemble the fit and let it talk before I just say, oh, I just got these in the mail type thing.
To quote the great poet Sean Carter, you gotta let that bitch breathe.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta let it breathe a little bit. So yeah, but to your point about formal shoe game, that's kind of where I need to start improving. Like I have a lot of Cole Haan loafers. That's more so my speed. But like dress shoes, I need a couple like staples to go in, because I do the colored loafers thing. It's comfortable, it's fly, it goes with what I do when I air quotes dress up. But like you gotta have that 3-piece suit pair of shoes.
I'm about to have about a
I need my Hurt Business foot game.
Man,
I need to improve on my Hurt Business.
Let me tell you
footwear.
something. If there's no truer word spoken, let me tell you something, man. Them boys right there, they should be an inspiration to not just African American men across the U.S. or across the world. They need to be an inspiration to men, period. Their suit game right now, I would put top tier Horseman suits up against the Hurt Business suits over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and I guarantee you, any one combination can beat any combination of the Horsemen.
Look, we sent out from Twitter on the Broken Pencil BC Twitter page. For those of you not following, is at Broken Pencil BC on everything.
On what?
Everything. You feel what I'm saying? But tweeted out like if you watched Raw on Monday, which give them the date and the year of our Lord, please.
Today is Wednesday, March the 10th. Year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
I say year of our Lord.
I say year of our Lord.
20 and 21.
Amen.
There
or
you go.
2020.2.
2020.5.
2020 plus 1. However you want to figure it out. But MVP had a very, very fly. He had a fly ensemble. He put everything together very well, from the vest to the jacket. Everything was on point.
And it was, I don't know if you peeped it. It was Florida,
it was fire, but it reminded me of the Joker from Mortal Kombat 11. So for those of you who are video gamers and you've ever played Mortal Kombat, you know that you can change the Joker skins, which means you put him in a different suit or have a different hat, different cane, and the whole thing. Him carrying the cane is what did it. He looks like a Joker skin from Mortal Kombat 11.
Wow.
So the next time you jump on your gaming device of choice and you play Mortal Kombat 11, just go take a look at that and see if I'm lying.
Man. So I don't know if you peeped it, but it was the colors were that of Florida. It was blue and orange, and so right. I don't know if
I kind of felt like the jacket was a little more navy, like in the vein of Syracuse, but yes,
it very very much so. But I don't know if that was the intent. Either way, it came like you must go back and watch the intro to Monday Night Raw with the Hurt Business walking in the back with the championship belts and MVP with the chain on. It was quite the sight to see.
Right on.
Before we get too deep into the you know what.
Into the you know what.
Broken Pencil Logic, you can't write this. Mark my words, with the shit and fuck the casual fan. Those are your hashtags. And
amen.
Get them all into the scholarship fund. Swab, let's get into this, man.
Let's do it.
So we had AEW Revolution this past Sunday. We first of all, we went through the whole episode last week and didn't even talk about AEW Revolution because we forgot that the pay-per-view was actually happening this week or this past week because it was a month late and it happened on a Sunday. So AEW is now going to a Sunday pay-per-view schedule, or so it seems, this year.
Okay.
The main event, there was two major topics of discussion. A new signee who is a Hall of Fame worthy talent. And the only other hint we got was that he will outwork everyone.
Now, we ran into a little snafu because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Watching that, you immediately hear Paul White, aka the Giant, because we can know he's no more BS. We can no longer refer to him as the Big Show. When he said Hall of Fame worthy, it was like, okay, this is probably someone who has performed in WWE to a high level, but has not been inducted to the Hall of Fame yet. So then you start thinking about the list of people who fit that criteria. Because I heard some people say Kurt Angle, I'm like, he's already in the Hall of Fame.
So let me stop right there. That's okay. When certain names started popping up. My thing was, am I sharpshooting? Am I overthinking this by thinking that nope, Kurt Angle already is a Hall of Famer. He's not Hall of Fame worthy. He is a Hall of Famer, so we can't count him. Batista's name came up. We can't count him either because he is a Hall of Famer. He's not Hall of Fame worthy. He is. CM Punk comes up. Not a Hall of Famer.
He would fall in that category because CM Punk is not a Hall of Famer, but obviously he has Hall of Fame credentials on his resume.
If he wasn't Hall of Fame, but for any one thing, you could either choose the night that he beat Cena in Chicago and took the belt without a contract, or you could argue that the pipe bomb were Hall of Fame worthy incidents for CM Punk, but still not Hall of Fame.
Longest title reign in the modern era of a WWE champion. So he absolutely has the resume to be in the Hall of Fame. And then if they're ever able to reconcile, it's going to happen. But the list of available talent who's air quotes Hall of Fame worthy, very short.
Or is it? Because Big Show
depends on which Hall of Fame we're talking about.
That's one thing. But also, Big Show was under contract to WWE and showed up on TV in January. Less than 90 days later. Why? Because there was no compete clause. He shows up without Big Show as Paul White, government name, on AEW television. The first time he's been on TNT since 1997.
Right.
And he's also
wait. It's 98.
98. I'm sorry.
In the 98 because he debuted St. Valentine's Massacre in February of 99.
Yes, sir. Look at you in the bag. So we don't know who else was actually or is actually not under contract to WWE, or for that matter, Impact, ROH, New Japan, what have you. Did anybody think Christian Cage?
I'd hate to make it seem like I just guess everything or I'm like above being wrong, but he was one of my first guesses.
Based on
we have
what?
Documentable proof on it. It was simply based off the Hall of Fame worthy comment, and that's usually the talk that surrounds Christian more than anybody else because they feel like he's been retired long enough. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Because everybody else they talk about putting in the Hall of Fame is like they're no longer with us.
This is a fact. And so we're talking 7 years in between Royal Rumbles, and we thought that this was, and he was actually in part of the WrestleMania storyline or post WrestleMania storyline last year with the Legend Killer. So we figured that he was on his way to becoming or returning back to in-ring competition, where the most competition he had seen or the most action he had seen in 7 years was at the Rumble. We did not know that the hug that he and Ed shared wasn't a welcome back more so than it was a goodbye. Until Sunday when it was revealed that he actually signed his AEW contract.
and I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just gonna tell you the truth of what I think. They had a conversation, and this is me speculating. I do not have any inside knowledge. I do not have any plugs, that talk to me about any of this. I feel like they worked the angle with Randy Orton. Then it's a surprise to put him in the Royal Rumble, whether that was a last-minute decision or that was planned all along. I feel like there was a conversation about the Hall of Fame. Am I going in? Or am I on the prospective list of finalists? Are you going to Drew Pearson me? I feel like the conversation may have gone the opposite way Christian wanted to, and then he decided to make a move. Because at this point, he's not going to wrestle a regular schedule. It doesn't necessarily seem like WWE values him in a way that would make them book him in matches like they've done Edge, like they do with Goldberg and different stars who come back. So it's not like they're gonna make Christian seem like a really big deal.
Which is
so it's like
which is sad. Which is sad because there's a feeling that I had about Triple H up until the time he had his quad injury. Which is, I thought Triple H was overrated. I thought Triple H didn't deserve the fruits of his spoils. And for the longest time, probably up until the end of his Impact or his TNA run, I felt the same way about Christian. But Christian was never given his fair shake in WWE. The only reason why he got that first championship was because Edge retired. And it was more of a way to keep, it seemed like more of a way to keep Edge happy than it was to keep Christian relevant. And right. But we got one of the best feuds in wrestling history out of that title run between Christian and Randy Orton, which culminated with Christian spitting in Randy Orton's face, causing Randy Orton to get disqualified and he becoming champion a second time. So I don't, people don't give Christian his just due. Maybe it's his size, but according to Christian, Vince McMahon, quote, hates his face. He doesn't like the way his face looks.
And I've heard this on several occasions, like it's not just a joke. That's why. So apparently Vince McMahon has been quoted or has been represented as saying that he doesn't like Christian's face, that he's an ugly guy, which, I mean, hey, feel how you feel. I don't really care one way or the other. But kind of leads me to believe that's where the creepy little bastard thing came in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they greenlit that and then he took it well. And then he did look sort of weird before he cut his hair. Like him cutting his hair worked better probably than almost anyone I can remember in recent memory as far as getting a new look. What I do have to speak on is because I made that guess rather early. And then seeing, I swear I do not remember this person's name, but a wrestling media writer went to Twitter and air quotes verified that Christian was still signed to WWE.
the day of the show.
And I'm like, cause okay, here's actually the day after it was announced, or was it the same night?
So it was announced on Wednesday.
Right. So either Wednesday or Thursday, the speculation is running rampant, and they're like, they start talking about Batista, but I'm like, Batista is, he is a Hall of Famer. They just didn't have the induction ceremony because of everything last year. And I'm like, the list is short. It's Christian, it's Rob Van Dam, it's CM Punk. Everybody else is in. Everybody else that I can think of.
I mean, like,
it can't be Paul White.
Nah, it's like maybe there's somebody else we're missing that we're not, or that we're just really overlooking. But that's pretty much it. I mean, Rock, Cena, we know they're not, or do we? But like Rock, because
I don't think you can offer Cena enough money to do it. And The Rock, I mean, same difference. If he's not gonna make himself available for his cousin and a WrestleMania main event, what makes you think he's gonna make himself available for weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, every quarter appearances in AEW?
And to be clear, neither one of them needs that bag.
Right. Look, Dwayne has enough stuff going on.
Dwayne is the bag. Like when you talk about bag,
literally, Dwayne is the bag. Like between, filming Young Rock, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I really do think he's laying the groundwork for a political push at some point. Like, kind of, sort of. I know it was like kind of like the inside joke for a while. Like he was gonna attempt to run in 2020, but I am not totally outside the belief that maybe 2032, like he keeps saying, and he keeps embedding it in people's minds, he may make a run at some level.
At some point, yep.
And, but
and he has a strong
he does
probability
entirely
to win.
Too much to just take whatever bag from AEW. It just doesn't make sense.
And then also that night, I mean, because that story with the Guess Who grew legs from, like, Thursday it didn't matter. Friday it became a mystery. Saturday it became a story. And
Batista had to speak out publicly, like, "Hey, I'm retired in real life." When he's another person that doesn't really need the bag, he'll take it, but he doesn't need it.
Not at this point, no.
Drax the Destroyer doesn't need an extra bag.
If you're collecting Marvel money, the last thing you need is a wrestling bag. Let's just be very clear.
Like, I'm not taking any bumps. You can kiss my entire ass.
I mean, Anthony Mackie just announced a Marvel series based off of a sub character in Captain America. Are you kidding me?
So who's to say that at some point Dave Bautista will not end up as a series on the Disney Plus app? Just Drax the Destroyer. And he seems like he's recognizable enough of a character, but low enough on the totem pole that they would do that.
It could actually be a cartoon, and he could just voice over Drax the Destroyer, and it would still go over.
Endless possibilities to grab the bag. Then, I mean, he's done other movies. He's done Stuber comes to mind. Like, he's just one of those people that right now does not strike me as though he needs a wrestling bag. He'll take it, but you imagine putting him on television. Like, Batista's 6'5" and kind of hovers in that. He's cut back.
He's probably about 265. He's probably about 265.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Do you realize he dwarfs the largest? Well, he dwarfs one of the largest people. He doesn't dwarf Archer, and he doesn't dwarf.
He doesn't dwarf McIntyre either.
No, I mean in AEW.
Oh yeah,
their
yeah.
roster.
Yeah, I mean, naturally he doesn't dwarf Paul White. Doesn't dwarf Archer, but he would be the biggest star there.
Absolutely, and it's like, I don't want to see him and Brian Cage on screen at the same time, because that's probably going to kill.
No,
that's going to kill some stuff. It's going to make him look like Mini-Me
for the wrong reasons.
You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like Animal Light.
Speaking of Brian Cage, we did because I mean this card did have some high points. We saw a cinematic presentation of Brian Cage. Actually, it was supposed to be was Sting and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Stuntman, yeah, that's me. And you had some run-ins from who all ran in that match? Oh, your boy Ice Train Jr. 2.0. Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs was a run-in. This was done and looked like a warehouse / soundstage. It looked very, very scary, that the venue, but I think it was very well put together. The editing was absolutely horrid, but I think it was a really entertaining match nonetheless. Darby Allin, though,
I have to stop you right there, because, like, look, if we're gonna put all of this money into shooting a cinematic match, why are we skimping on the editing?
So funny you should mention that.
This is your biggest acquisition in AEW history. Like, Sting is the biggest acquisition you've ever made.
His first match on TV in about 4 years?
His first match in how many years?
Because his last match was what, WrestleMania against?
It was
Night of Champions against Seth Rollins.
2016.
So almost 5 years.
Right. And this man is already in his 60s. So we have to be very careful with what we do, how we do it, and how many times we do it. Pause.
But
And you're gonna have these, high quality cameras and shoot this in such a cinematic form, and you're trying to get the right angles and pull off these stunts and do XYZ, and then you're gonna
video game quality camera work with beginner Adobe Premiere level editing.
You're gonna fucking edit this shit in MS Paint. Like, look,
you editing on print shop film?
Go ahead and get the certs for Final Cut. Like, if that's what you plan to use, like, don't just use the free trial version. They won't give you all of the tools.
Get all the tools, download the extra effects that you think that you're not gonna need. Just spend the extra money.
It's a tax write-off at the end of the day.
Use the extra second. It's one extra second it takes to take care of that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fine tooth comb. But don't just leave people up to their own devices just because you air quotes trust them until you've seen them deliver the product. And that statement right there will come up again as we talk about AEW Revolution.
So as the reason why I even brought that match up is because it has implications on what's going to happen tonight on AEW Dynamite. So by the time you hear this podcast, hopefully we've already had a new television champion as Scorpio Sky. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Maybe somebody in Jacksonville is listening to us, but Scorpio Sky hasn't just grabbed the proverbial brass ring.
He grabbed the literal
brass ring.
Like, bruh. Now, what I will, like, okay, we had the same moment with WWE in the last episode. We were vocal about something. We did it in a respectful way, but we were questioning how things were going. And apparently we have friends at AEW as well that are listening to the podcast.
Shouts out to y'all. And of course, shouts out to Lance, Pistol Pusher #1 over there.
And then after making our wants and needs vocalized and felt, we received an appearance from Scorpio Sky on Dynamite, which is almost never happens. Of course, he was on commentary. See him, but then he was in a match on pay-per-view and won an opportunity at a championship. So he'll be on Dynamite apparently this week.
Tonight.
So, yeah, tonight. So it would behoove AEW to cash in on this. I won't say whether or not I feel like this is a copycat of Lashley's situation. Like, you're gonna crown
this is different.
See my air
this is
you're
different.
Crown this is champion of color.
I'm gonna stop. This is different because we've been begging for Scorpio Sky on TV. In the last match I remember Scorpio Sky being on Dynamite was losing to Cody Rhodes and the most haphazard loss for a TV title match.
And then he was relegated back to dark. I don't think it's that different though, because we've been clamoring for Bobby Lashley as champion or in a main event role so we could get to Lashley versus Lesnar. Yeah, I don't think it's that different.
But at least he's been on TV though. Like, we haven't even. The only time we see Scorpio Sky on Wednesday nights is on the bottom crawl talking about the results from Dark.
This is factual. However, TV for Lashley has only really been a good thing for the last 8-9 months. Since the inception of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley's television time has been maximized.
Since MVP rescued him from Lana.
Whole stuff with Lana and Rusev, and even going back to the times with Lio Rush, like, Leo and Bobby made a really good team, but like, Bobby was going around with headbands and sunglasses and bending over pointing at his ass. Like, we were not getting the best of Bobby Lashley on television. He came back to what should have been way more fanfare. He got used as kind of a speed bump for Roman Reigns. They put him with Leo, which made for good TV because Leo can talk. But then they didn't have an idea of how to present him. So he's out there in like biker shorts, all these headbands and wristbands and sunglasses, bending over, pointing at his ass. And I'm like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. Like, what in the Mandingo Fighter is going on here, bro?
Man.
And that's what we got for a long time. And then he went the gigolo route with Lana in a very, anticlimactic situation with Rusev that, you know, he ended up letting his contract expire and went to be Miro. And then finally with MVP, you get more of the presentation that we knew Bobby Lashley was capable of. His promo works better. He looks better. His television time is better. He's more dominant. He's more aggressive. And now he's the champion. It's kind of similar. The only difference is you actually saw him on television.
Yeah, that's my big thing is that we saw Lashley. We did not see Scorpio Sky, but we get what we want, or maybe. But I will say
so
this.
In that case, I have to say thank you to AEW for hearing our cry and putting the Scorpio Sky in a situation where, you know, he's about to vie for a title. Now what we need you to do is cash in on that.
And he's leaps and bounds better than the majority of the talent that's on Dark. Like he if there was Dark has become what Metal and Jacked were for WWE. You get relegated to that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep it 1,000. Like, whoever wins, even if Scorpio Sky loses and it starts to manifest itself in a heel turn where he's gonna be on Dynamite on a regular basis, whoever the TNT champion is has got to get back to a regular defense schedule.
Which is
when
weekly.
Cody was doing it every week basically to highlight somebody else and highlight himself. That's when the TNT championship was best. You don't get an AEW world title match on every episode of Dynamite, and for good reason. The TNT championship literally should be the main event of every Dynamite, being defended against top tier upcoming talent. The
disagree.
Best match on the show should be the last one.
I disagree with being the main event. I have two plausible solutions for that though. The least of which would be, or the lesser of the two, should I say, would be the top of hour number 2 should be where the TNT title match should go. It's a home. It's a good place to land it, that way you know every week when that match is going to take place, or as opposed to a quote unquote hot tag match. What did Paul Heyman say about Brock Lesnar against Seth Rollins? If I'm not going to go on last, I'm going to go on first.
I'm cool. If you give me first, I'm cool. It's like you're setting the tone for the show. For the
entire show.
Only thing is, the rest of the show needs to live up to whatever the first match puts out. If it's the last match, you're putting the title in a prestigious position. It's the last, air quotes, last segment. It's being defended on a regular basis. It increases the value of the title over time because everyone's gonna want to be TNT champion so you can wrestle in the main event slot.
Now, I will say this: last Wednesday's Dynamite wasn't the best Dynamite ever, but it was damn sure the fastest Dynamite we have ever seen. Would you agree with that? In terms of like speeding by and leaving you wanting more.
For the most part.
So, because
I feel like you're working usually with the AEW World Champion on Dynamite. You're working the angle. You're doing whatever your hot shot. You're doing the storyline.
You work the yab.
You know what I'm saying? With the yab, you work the yab. Pay per view set up right cross. You listening to me, ho? Work the yab right cross. So you're not gonna get a Kenny Omega versus insert name here every week, and at this point, you shouldn't, because if you're billing him as the best wrestler in the world, and all the folklore from Japan, people need to pay to see him wrestle. I get that. That's good business. If he's Sports Illustrated guy, if he's the guy in Sports Illustrated, he's got all the press. He's a Pro Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer, and you want to see why because you've never seen him wrestle in Japan, or you just want to see what he does in America, you should have to pay to see him. So I agree with that. However, because he's not going to wrestle every week in the main event slot or just at all, period. What are you going to put in that slot? It's either that or the tag team titles. If your promotion is going to be, tag team centric, then cool, get the best match possible out of the Young Bucks because they're supposed to be flagship competitors in the company. Put them on last and have them have a wrestling clinic, air quotes, every week. I think it would be better for the singles title because you get a performer like Scorpio Sky and then get him a suitable dance partner to make a defense every week. So whether he's heel or face, if he's babyface, let him overcome. If he's heel, Let him wrestle a great match and then find a way to cheat to win.
Like just something simple. Pull the tights. Use the ropes for leverage.
That's it. Every week,
you know,
feet on the ropes,
and do it for 24 months.
Get him a homeboy and have somebody trip him outside. I don't know what his situation with SCU is, but you know, something to that nature.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 18, 24 months. Bring up the title reign, the great title reigns of Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Steve Austin. You know, like those are easily the greatest TV title champions of all time. You could bring that up.
Give him a hot 6 months. Give him 6 months undefeated, and then you have a babyface or heel, depending on who you're trying to put over, brewing in the shadows.
Hell, in this climate, you could actually have him turn heel tonight, put the belt on him, and he'll be back face again by the end of the run. You can do that.
All possibilities. If you put your mind to it, all of it's possible.
Because honestly,
what I'm saying,
I think what's setting up for is Cody to get another run at the U.S. title belt, the TNT title belt when he comes back from injury, because he looks like he's legit injured and might be out for a little bit. And if it is against Scorpio Sky, the perfect person to turn him back face against is going to be a heel Cody.
If we're ever going to get a heel Cody, which I don't know. I would be in favor of it. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. I also feel like a Sammy Guevara on a face run, if you build it properly,
if you bring him back
apart,
if you bring him back
6 months and then bring them together, and Guevara is hot and established. Same thing I feel about Hangman Page. Like, he's out there lost at sea at this point. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Is he a serious title contender, or is he just?
I just think Guevara's gonna have to
eat the tallest goof in the Dark Order.
I just think Guevara's gonna have to eat shit before he eats sushi. He
already has though, and that's the crazy part. Like,
right, he did once already
for stuff he said while not under contract to AEW, and now because he didn't agree with the creative that another company, like, he's not signed to Impact, so him being there is a favor. I'm doing a favor or working air quotes good business on behalf of AEW, and I don't agree with the creative. I don't have to be here.
We can revisit the Scorpio Sky thing next week. Hopefully, we can see we will have the outcome that we desire for next week. Because so far we're on a roll as far as getting things that we want, which is going to
make. We is out here rolling in dice.
Are they trying to put us out of business? They're trying to give us stuff to not talk about.
I'm sorry, fam. Like, we good one way or the other.
One way or the other.
Give us what we want. We can sing your praises and talk about the product. You don't give us what we want. Sniper rifle, shooting holes in the logic.
And there's some more coming. The final match of the night was a barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title.
Barbed wire death roll. No, barbed wire alligator death roll. Flying vulture. Grenade launcher, RPG, Call of Duty Warzone match.
All of that.
You gotta say it's like a pimp named Slickback. You gotta say the whole damn thing every time. It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
Like a Tribe Called Quest. I don't know what happened, but like, so there was a.
Hey, speaking of Saya, I got another pair of shoes at the door. Shout out to the shop app.
Hey, shouts out to the shop. I don't know what the hell happened with those. There were some mines outside of the ring on both sides. And then the rule was it was a 30-minute match, which most championship matches are 1 hour, historically speaking. But because of the severity of the violence of this match, it was only 30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, if there's no winner, regardless of the outcome, whoever is left in the ring, all of the explosives were to go off at one time. Your winner and still is Kenny Omega after handcuffing Jon Moxley,
and the Good Brothers getting involved.
Brothers getting heavily involved
with an exploding barbed wire
baseball bat.
I can't even say that shit.
Exploding barbed wire baseball bat.
Exploding barbed wire wrapped baseball bat.
even Mick Foley said, "Holy shit."
And I'm like, I guess this is one of those things, like, it made more sense to me as like a teenager watching like stuff from Japan and these death matches.
You know
like,
why? Because we didn't have a conscience 20 years ago.
This is true. I mean, this is absolutely true. But not even the fact that like it affects my conscience. It's just like, where's the entertainment value? To me, seriously, the Full Gear match was better.
Man, leaps and bounds.
This was more believable because, you know, Kenny can't dive and jump over barbed wire to do a plancha or anything like that. He has to actually fight. So he stayed a little truer to the parameters of the match. But the Full Gear, as far as like a car wreck, was way better.
The explosions were sold very well. But during the match, let me be very clear about that.
But they're not real explosions.
But the barbed wire,
hitting the ropes and like firecrackers are going off.
But the barbed wire, that's real. Barbed wire
is real.
That was getting stuck.
I feel like, okay, barbed wire, that's some dangerous shit. But what are these explosions supposed to do?
Man, I
scared the shit out of you.
Like it scared the shit out of what was his name? Bryce Grinsberg, whatever his name is. It's looking like Walter White.
Shout out to Walter White, the referee. I say this motherfucker must have some money in the wall in the back. Like, where did he get this hazmat suit?
Man, the ring.
I know where he got the hazmat suit.
The ring was lined with stacks of hundos. Man. So the story is Eddie Kingston came to save Jon Moxley. So at least as we were watching the pay-per-view, shouts out to Internet Champions of Wrestling, we were watching on their thread and chiming in with pure, unadulterated broken pencil logic.
We're having a live conference call via text.
Let me just say, if you never reply with a word and only reply with gifts, your conversation would be loud and clear, Suave. At any rate,
yeah.
But as we talked about,
I'm a bit of a communications savant.
As we talk about Moxley not having not nan friend in the world, here comes Eddie Kingston out to.
You don't know now. I actually like this though. I will give him some credit. I do like Eddie Kingston coming in to make the save. I do not understand why he didn't just try to roll him out of the ring on the side that didn't have any barbed wire. That's the only like a logical situation.
Like, I mean,
3 sides of the ring are covered with barbed wire.
It would have been
the entrance side. Go ahead.
It would have been a lot of work in a short amount of time because he was too busy frantic trying to figure out how to get handcuffs off that he didn't have keys to, while Moxley was in the middle of the ring.
That's what I'm saying. He would have don't have keys to the handcuffs.
He would have had a neck roll.
Pick him up. You shouldn't pick him up anyway.
No, he should. He would have had a neck roll that man out the ring like a dog.
You know what I'm saying? Alligator roll him onto the ramp. You turning back looking at the clock like, hey, bruh, you covered him for at least 10 seconds. You could have spent that time rolling him over and getting him out of the ring.
And then the whole 30-minute explosion thing, which led to Gilbert Sparklers.
Fam. I told somebody, I was like, Kane's entrance looked more dangerous than this.
Gilbert's entrance was more dangerous than that. On the real, because at least
Goldberg's entrance is more dangerous than this.
Goldberg was sniffing that smoke, and it shows.
Yeah, it does. It does. Hit the bell for yourself. Good God. You done sniffed enough pyro smoke and it's going straight to your fucking brain.
Oh, shit. The only other thing,
pyro got chemicals in it.
The only other thing to look for tonight is the possible implosion once again of the Inner Circle, as there's a war council.
Which I'm sick of that too.
Yeah, there's a war council, and quote,
why
changes
they
will
just
be
had
made.
Something else.
I believe this will be the excommunication of Chris Jericho and the reemergence of Sammy Guevara tonight.
I swear, like this is the most overworked group of haphazard ass people in a faction I have seen in a long time. They've had war councils, they've had final meetings, they've had tag team battle royals. Like they've done everything and none of it matters. Not any of it.
And you're killing 2 of your best workers in the company and Chris Jericho and MJF in the process. Not to mention
Go a step further. Like, you're killing one of the best tag teams you have in the division.
Reading my mind.
A tag team breeding ground.
Reading my mind. I can't call them PNP. Santana and Ortiz.
LAX.
World Championship caliber tag team.
They doing business with Impact. We can call them LAX again.
They need to be. Get Homicide Hernandez with them too.
Tony Khan should negotiate that. The next time he buys commercial space on Impact, just buy the name with it.
Man, all of it. I mean, you already jacked Christian Cage's music from TNA.
See? So if we're working in conjunction like that, then hey, man, let's go. Let's do it. Why is Moose not on Dynamite?
You feel me? And I think that's only a matter of time. I don't know if he's going to be the one that's going to get the belt or not. I mean, and as we'll talk about that, but the TNA World Championship that Moose holds and the Impact World Championship that Rich Swann holds are going to be unified at the next Impact pay-per-view. Maybe
I think Rich Swann's probably gonna be the one to unify because he seems like an easier win for Kenny.
But I also think that when you talk about monstrous heels, I think we can better see Moose and AEW. That'd be a great matchup, I think, for Lance. I think Lance.
Here's fantasy booking. Moose is the heater for Scorpio Sky.
I like it. I like it a lot. So
I like it a lot.
So that was just about a rough 30 minutes or more on AEW, just from what we saw, what we witnessed over the last weekend.
Let me ask you this: what'd you think of the tag match, Young Bucks and Jericho and MJF?
I didn't care for it. I don't want to be the judge of somebody outliving their golden years, but Jericho, it's time for you to stop, man. Like it's time. You're slowing down. You still have it, but it's like you're trying to operate at that 22-year-old level, and you're in your 24 years, actually 25 years beyond that.
Keeping up with the Young Bucks probably is not as impressive as teaching them ring psychology.
No, not at all. I mean, because first of all, Young Bucks are being touted as one of the best tag teams in the world, and all they do is use Texas Tornado tag rules and super kicks.
Bruh. I'm not certain. Oh, yes. I'm glad you said that, because I brought up the fact that what I had been calling them is Mean Street Posse West Coast. I had been calling them that. And because I don't really care for them, but I don't care enough about them to be vocal about it all the time. They don't do it for me. But
Bobby No Abs and Pete off the gas.
So I was kind of called out in I guess a joking way about it, and apparently that name seemed like I was hating on them. So I did what we do on this show all the time. I started rattling off names that could replace it.
Okay.
So it was Cosplay Rockers, the Hardley Boys. But then the one that killed me, and this is absolutely the one I'm going with, especially because of how they beef with Jim Cornette on social media, the Block and Troll Express. That's it. I swear, I can't call them anything else. The Block and Troll Express it was instant classic. ESPN, straight up.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we wasted way too much time on AEW. Did we waste it? Not for bad reason. Not for bad reason at all. Because WWE has apparently wasted our time for 7 years. We've made mention about the $1 billion bag with WWE and Peacock. And
was it 1 billion or 2?
It was 1. Well, it might have been 2. I don't know. I mean, they've got billions from Fox and from USA. Yeah, so it might have been 2. Either way,
right?
Big old bag.
Not this much.
To the delight of all WWE network subscribers from day one, such as myself and you.
Right.
literally one of the pillars of how this podcast began.
Shout out to the day ones.
What did we get for our troubles? A rebuilt network on another over-the-top app at a discounted rate for 4 months, during which this 4 months, the remaining content that doesn't make the immediate migration to the new app may show up.
So here's the
please
part.
Explain this.
There were a lot of people, especially within the walls of WWE, and then a lot of people in the internet wrestling community who were touting the fact that this was so great, and anybody who wasn't on board with the change, you just don't understand, or you're complaining too much. Literally, that was what listening to After the Bell, Corey Graves' podcast. Him and Vic Joseph were like, you're just complaining. It's gonna be cheaper. It's gonna be great. It's NBC. Why wouldn't you want more people to see it? Like, those are the reasons that you give to stockholders. Like, yeah, more people are gonna have the Peacock app, and you're gonna be exposed to more potential viewers because you have more outside WWE content. However, what the problem is from this new article that's been released, the discounted price that was touted, the $4.99, that's includes ads.
With ads,
so
yes.
It's not just like how it is now for the WWE network, for those of you that have it. It's $9.99. All your ads are WWE related. So they're just advertising to you other WWE events, shop, commercials for upcoming, programming. It's all wrestling based. You don't have that option on Peacock. It's going to be more like advertisements for other shows on Peacock, paid advertisements. Be a lot like watching Hulu with ads. That's what you get for the $4.99. An ad-free version is the same price as what you're paying now. It's going to be $9.99, which I'm cool with. No big deal.
It's the same thing. It's the same $99, right?
Right. No big deal. However, from this article, there is no auto migration. So if you're an existing member, you are not then automatically transferred over. So now
I got a member for him.
You know what I'm saying? So you were already going to have to download the app, but now you have to go through the whole process of signing up for these things again, which, small, minor inconvenience, but something that's going to be annoying to people, to older subscribers. Not a big deal for me. However, the part that is rather annoying, you're going to launch this app you're going to launch this merger in 21 days. Well, it's not 21 days. It's 11 days on March 21st for Fastlane, right?
So Fastlane is going to be the first joint pay-per-view, which was supposed to be the last pay-per-view on the WWE network, which we found out we're sadly mistaken on that.
Right. So March 21st, we're already supposed to be on Peacock. We're going to watch Fastlane over there. However, the content you enjoy, which they weren't even specific about it, all the back catalog stuff that most of us watch it for, like I watch it for early and mid 90s WCW. I typically, unless it's a live show, I'm not watching semi-current material on the network. I'm watching the documentaries, and then I'm digging back into the crates, watching old stuff that I like. So apparently, we've done all this to announce this rollout, and the back catalog will not automatically migrate. Some of those things will not be available.
Let's take a ride real quick. We go back to season 1 of the BPBC, right? We made mention about things we would like to see with the network. One of the things that we talked about is a mixtape style playlist. Right. They've incorporated that. So people have
it's a show staple for us.
People have the ability to create their own quote unquote network from the WWE network, so you can watch what you want to watch, how you want to watch it, when you want to watch it, only to have that be taken away. It's the equivalent of making playlists on Spotify, Apple Music, and or YouTube. And all of a sudden
with YouTube Music, and then losing all your playlists.
bye-bye. It's a wrap. You're done. And there's nothing you can do about it. But for your patience and your understanding, we're going to give you our discounted rate since you are a loyalist, which that discounted rate is $2.50 per month for 4 months. $10.
I'm cool with that. I'll take 4 for 10. I ain't gonna trip. But right now, paying $9.99, and this is through the month of March, so you've probably already been billed for it. The back catalog's not available. Now, catch this. It's not like it's gonna be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month and a half. The projected, not guaranteed, the projected date to have all of the content that you are enjoying now available on this new platform, SummerSlam. August. So you mean to tell me
maybe.
So you mean to tell me we couldn't do this same rollout for SummerSlam, which is also a top 5 pay-per-view? Depending on your stance on WWE products, it's either number 2 or number 3. So this is not a shabby event. You could have rolled all of this out with the full content catalog and rolled it out with the biggest event of the summer. That's their tagline for it for years. And we're going to try to force feed you the road to WrestleMania, and I'm almost certain they are not ready for the level of traffic that's going to happen for WrestleMania, and there's going to be some massive technical issue.
Especially in a simulcast. You're doubling your bandwidth from one company and hoping that the other company has the capability to house it, which in theory, NBC, Comcast, Universal is an internet provider. You would think that they have the capability to have unlimited bandwidth for their cash cow.
You might think that,
we
live in Texas. We've just learned recently we know better. ERCOT.
If we can't have the right amount of power in the largest area state in the union, there is absolutely no telling the levels of endless futility that could happen over internet.
It could be catastrophic.
Because it happened at the first WrestleMania. WrestleMania 30, it happened then. We had
fortunately enough, it didn't happen for me, but I heard a lot of people who it was terrible.
I don't remember what I was watching. I think I was watching on a PlayStation 3 at the time. But we got massive dropouts. We had looping. We had standard definition streams. Granted, I have biblical speed internet where I'm at, but it's still broad enough to where if that's the only device connected to the internet at the time that I'm watching this, I should experience no interruptions. Bruh.
Now, for me personally, now in defense of the WWE Network, I have never really experienced a whole lot of technical issues. It's usually quick, not a whole lot to it. I am using all Apple devices just as a prerequisite. It's not me capping. That's just like, okay, this is my experience. What it is. I'm watching iPhone, iPad, MacBook, Apple TV. So my experience has not been trash. However, I do know when new technical situations roll out, there's always a glitch. Now, I'm assuming they feel like Fastlane is the testing point. Like, we'll be able to test the bugs. I don't think and by doing that, I feel like you're underestimating how many more people are going to want to watch WrestleMania because they've never had access to it.
I mean, also keep this in mind too. As a dieharder, which most people who have the WWE Network are diehard fans, they're not passive fans, they're active fans, super active on social media at that too. You don't want to have a testing ground on a pay-per-view before the biggest pay-per-view of the year. You should want to do that, other live shows like, Backstage. What's another good one? Now, granted, it's a conflict if you did Backstage, but like Raw Talk, Talking Smack, Shows like that, even like The Bump or Corey Graves' show. Like all those shows are shows where you would want to, get your testing out the way with the live audience with the test.
Wait. Hold up. This is NBC. Do a Saturday night's main event.
Wow. What a concept. Do a staple NBC show. Bring it back for the diehard fans, the ones who are actually paying for the network, so their children can understand what we went through when we were children.
On sort of a one-off, that way, especially with this back catalog thing, because it doesn't tell you how much of it will migrate on day one. So literally you could only have, I guess, say you have 2021 content, 2020, 19, and 18, and nothing else. Or you have WWE from, I guess, the start of the network. So you would have WWE from 2014 to current. I don't watch that.
Right. we lived that, actually.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we lived it live action. We talked about it on the podcast. Unless there's a specific match I want to see for context of talking about something else, I don't watch that. I'm watching mid to late 90s ECW, early to mid 90s WCW, and then the occasional stuff you'll suggest like certain Mid-South or
AWA Smoky Mountain,
Mid-Atlantic, like you'll suggest stuff from that era, or like late 80s Crockett and NWA, because you want to see, because the crowds, they always say 86 is like the greatest year before the Attitude Era, so you go back to kind of see what the vibe was. I'm watching backwards. I'm crate digging. I don't know how much of that makes the migration. It's like, bruh. And if you're projecting that it's going to take until August or mid to late summer, then that's the projection, not the guarantee. How much ground are you having to cover in that time frame?
And let's keep it a buck. We still don't have all the content that WWE has in their archives on the network anyway. We're still missing WCW World, or not even WCW, NWA/WCW Worldwide, NWA/WCW Pro, Superstars, Wrestling Challenge. Like, we're missing all that stuff.
I'll stop you when you start lying. Prime time wrestling from the early 90s. Like, you're missing a lot. Yeah, Wrestling Challenge. Yeah, I watched all that. Watched Superstars.
Metal Jack. I don't even know if Shotgun is on there.
Metal Jack. No, Shotgun Saturday Night is not on there that I've seen. Unless they snuck that in. They're super behind on WCW Saturday Night.
Bruh.
Like, there's a lot of content still missing that people want to see, and then you're going to tell me you're going to take that and then cut that. I'll say conservatively, you'll cut it in half.
Man,
let's say day one we start with 50% content.
Hold on.
And it's gonna take you X number of months to get the other 50%.
Man, listen.
Fuck is you saying, bro?
I can tell you. I can tell you.
Put me in the scholarship fund for that.
I can tell you what they saying. Fuck your money.
Right. And that's the part that's like, bruh, all of y'all who went out on that limb and talked all these different things, you realize yet again, WWE has placed profit over user experience.
So if I'm doing numbers, right? You ready for this?
Do it.
7 years, $10 per month. 3 million subscribers. $2.520 billion in revenue.
Which is why I felt like that's what Peacock bought it for. Because they bought it for what WWE was able to earn in its lifespan.
Newsflash, you're not going to get all those migration subscribers regardless. They're going to AEW and they're not even looking back. We're going to do it for content. That's it. That's a tax write-off.
Exactly.
All right,
it's been a tax write-off for us for a few years now, so it ain't even that big of a deal. Like, it's just it's the cost of doing business.
After knowing how little the E gives a fuck about my $10 a month, we stay on the topic of the E, no less. One Peyton Royce. You've been hearing some comments lately in the background as my phone was just doing its own thing. But Peyton Royce took charge on, what was it, Raw Talk this past Monday, and even got a semi-serious R-Truth in the process, which
almost never happens.
Which I don't even know if I'm thankful for. Let's be honest.
Jeez, you're not thankful for serious R-Truth?
I mean, I could be, I should be, but we'll let you listen to this, and then we'll semi-dissect it the best we possibly can. So, from Raw Talk through my phone, Peyton Royce.
My talents are hidden behind the opinion of others. But why not just let me go? Just let me go and see what happens. You know, our Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, she's injured right now, and yes, that sucks for her. But when a talent goes down, a spot opens up. Yeah. And that spot is massive. So why not me? Why does it always have to be the same old, same old? You know, I packed up my life. I moved across the world. I set up in a completely different country with not much of a support system to chase this dream. To what? To get stuck in the locker room watching other women do what I do better than 98% of them? And the other 2%? Well, I'd sure as hell give them a run for their money. It actually hurts. When you know deep in your soul you are destined to be where you are, striving for what you feel you deserve. You know, my potential haunts me. When you're striving for something that you feel you really deserve, this is where I'm meant to be. And my patience has been running thin for quite some time. So stop wasting my time and give me Asuka.
So let's pick that apart for a second.
Okay.
You don't start an interruption of a promo or an interruption of a show with a promo and start it by saying, let me go, just let me go. The first thing I'm thinking is, give me my release, which is smoke. But that is the exact opposite of what she's asking for.
She's asking for opportunity.
She wants a spot. Not my dog spot. Not a liver spot. Charlotte's spot. Let's be very clear. She said the same old, same
Facts.
old.
Facts. This is loaded with slugs. This is overloaded with slugs for Charlotte Flair. And I mean, really just everybody who consistently is put in the position to have television time. You broke up the Iconics, which was an incredibly over tag team, former tag team champions. If you're going to have a women's tag team division, you might want to have actual teams.
Yeah.
You split them up with the intention of Peyton Royce being the breakout star, but you haven't let her break out of catering.
The old God forbid catering. Good old fashioned
catering. You know what I'm
catering.
saying? That age old, it's like locker room East. And it's like, I mean, look, it's Women's History Month. International Women's Day just passed. This is an outstanding opportunity to diversify our content. Like, I don't disagree with anything that Peyton Royce said. Like, it's getting stagnant and stale. Like, you're gonna end up with Charlotte Flair in the women's world title match at WrestleMania for no reason.
Man.
Because there's nobody to have beaten for it to make it look legit. It's just like, insert biggest name you can here versus champion. Like, bruh, I mean, it's not Charlotte's fault. It's, she just hasn't been given much in the way of good creative. Like, they keep rehashing this same old, I'm going to verbally abuse my father in an attempt to stand on my own, but
it's just
I'm still Charlotte Flair.
It's just a remix of I'm still Charlotte Flair and I'm still daddy's little girl. I hate the fact that she was actually on the most recent episode of, was it Straight Up Steve Austin? Where she, that show that comes on after Raw on USA.
Yeah. I tuned out on that episode. Yeah, it's gotten to the point that every time I see her, I don't necessarily focus because I'm like, they're not going to give her anything new, nothing compelling, like and some type of creative that doesn't have anything to do with her last name.
Listen, she's done so much. It would take two generations in a longer career to be able to eclipse what she's done in half a normal person's career.
Factual.
There's nothing you can do at this point that hasn't already been done. There's no creative direction that she can go in with the stars that are available right now that she can actually do anything with. And I hate to say it, the only thing left for her to do is to start a family.
She's got a Hall of Fame resume in 7 years. And like
more title runs than anybody in women's wrestling history. Not WWE. Women's wrestling history, not length, because Moolah, not for nothing, she's touted as being the longest reigning champion of all time. But that I digress. She was the head carnivore in a forest full of meat eaters, and who were also prey, pun intended.
Okay, and here's what I think about that. Resume on full. Like, you can't fit anything else in the resume. Multi-time champions, former women's tag team champion, Royal Rumble winner, XYZ,
tag champion,
however many superlatives and attributes you
individual women's champion. Anything north, anything south of a men's title, she's done it multiple times. At least with the women's title, tag titles once, but every other title, I think twice.
Something like that.
Minimum?
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
But here's what I would say. And going after a men's title, that was the creative curveball I wanted to throw. What was it, last year?
Yep.
Like, that made sense to me. Like, if you're gonna carry Money in the Bank, use it to cash in on a guy. Or when you won the Royal Rumble, use it to cash in on a guy. Wouldn't have been Lesnar, but imagine like with the situation with Bobby Lashley. Imagine that Miz is champion.
I hate to say it. I think the first person that comes to mind with Charlotte versus a man is Randy Orton. And the only thing that's stopping me from saying that is his feud with McIntyre over the last year. He's lost way too many times.
Right. So I'm saying, like, somebody like a Miz, who it's air quotes believable that he would be beaten by someone the caliber of Charlotte Flair, and then her using her Royal Rumble win. It doesn't designate what title or which champion. Like, nope. You can, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been cool. It'd have been something new and different. So I say that to ask this. Outside of anything involving Becky Lynch, what is the most compelling story you've ever seen Charlotte Flair involved in? What's your favorite Charlotte Flair storyline?
My favorite storyline, which was only halfway executed, was the Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey storyline.
Nothing involving Becky Lynch. That doesn't count.
Wow.
Because Becky's hot as fish grease. Like, everything Becky was touching turned to gold. Hot as fish grease. Remove Becky Lynch from the equation. Charlotte Flair. What is your favorite story? Or which one do you even remember?
So two that I remember off. Well, okay, my favorite storyline was her chasing for the NXT Women's title when she was actually in NXT. That's my favorite.
Okay, that was last year.
No. The original, before she got called up.
Oh, okay.
When she was actually a weekly mainstay in NXT, not last year. So last year's on my list only because
I should have also put the caveat on there that, main roster, but keep going.
Yeah,
you're proving the point either way.
Yeah. So, but again, another one is the one that you're talking about with Rhea Ripley from last year's WrestleMania, which it's a good storyline only because she had basically ran the gamut on the main roster, and then we had to go back to NXT just to remember her roots and prove a point.
Had she stayed in NXT, I think that would have been good for everybody.
Man, I think she would do in NXT what I think they want to do with Ember Moon.
You'd have a laundry list of challengers for her to work with, and she would be the most famous thing going on in NXT, which means women would be the main event in NXT on a primetime show. Because everything else on NXT has changed so much that it's like, I can do without this.
And the only other storyline that comes to mind is Asuka versus her at Mania in 2018, simply because of Asuka's heel turn.
Right. Okay, so one didn't even happen on the main roster. The second one involved NXT.
Man.
And the third is Asuka, which, I thought it was cool, but you remember we did this was like episode 1 or 2 where we did the recap, and we're like, that pissed me off so much that we didn't complete the mission with Asuka going undefeated to a championship reign.
Man.
Because at this point, if it's Flair Asuka at WrestleMania,
and I'm sorry.
Wouldn't it be more compelling for Charlotte Flair to have lost?
That's number 1. 2, I'm mistaken because that was also AJ. Was it AJ versus Shinsuke and Shinsuke turned heel and not Asuka, because Asuka didn't turn heel in that one.
No. That's when Shinsuke turned heel. That's 34 in New Orleans.
Right. Okay, but Asuka did not. Asuka just conceded.
No, yeah, Asuka just tapped.
Okay, got you. Okay, I'm making sure I got my stories, my facts right here.
And it's choices like that. Like, there has not been a situation or a high pressure situation or a marquee event where Charlotte Flair was going to lose ground by losing. You had an opportunity to take someone who had been undefeated since NXT, the hottest NXT women's star you probably brought up to that point.
I mean, honestly,
I don't understand the logic
could arguably
of not completing the mission and solidifying Asuka. That way, you're right back here now. It's 5 years later, granted, but now we right back in the same place. It would have been easier to build a story that people care about if Charlotte had previously lost.
Outside of Charlotte, I would say easily Asuka and Shayna Baszler are the most underused, talked about, or highest potential talents to come from NXT. And speaking of potential, that's another thing about Peyton Royce that kind of bothered me. Telling someone that your own potential scares you is akin to telling someone how humble you are. These are things that you come from other people. Was that?
I said you didn't really care for the promo, did you?
I did. Like, I understood. Like, it came. I think it came from a good place. The direction that it went in spiraled out of control. Like, I understand emotions get involved, but and it might be terminology from the English language from one part of the world to the other part of the world. But let me go. I understand what she means now. But initially, when you say "let me go" in a quote unquote shoot segment, that means get me out of my contract. That's not what that was about.
I mean, I can see how you might take it that way.
No. Initially, I mean, like if you stop the interview right there, that's what you're thinking. But she continues and clarifies her point. But then you want now, mind you, her Asuka's injury is an injury nonetheless, but it's not it's not a severe enough injury to keep her out of WrestleMania.
Some dental surgery is probably in order. That's it.
Yeah, just rest your mouth. Just don't get hit in it. Don't fall face first. We're good. But
rest your mouth.
Stop it. But
that's a shirt for 2021. Rest your mouth.
That might be the phrase of 2021.
Rest your mouth.
But even still, if we're talking vitriol and venom towards a particular person or towards a particular situation to get the person that you want for a match. The one person that you don't want to call out is a person who can't defend herself, someone who's injured. Like, you're champion or not. If I'm in a wheelchair and I'm going to be back in enough time to defend my title, I don't want to be called out by somebody.
I mean, but who else is she gonna call out? She's on Raw. It's Raw Talk.
She was talking shit about Charlotte. Call out Charlotte.
Who's gonna call out
Charlotte? Put your money where your mouth is. If you have a problem with the same old, get rid of the same old. King of the mountain.
Charlotte ain't got no belt right now, which means Charlotte ain't got the TV time.
All the more reason.
I mean, she does by default, but old school thinking, the champion makes the money. The champion goes to the pay window. The champion has the championship segments.
Rest in peace,
So
Dusty
if you
Rhodes.
don't have the championship, I'm not concerned with you.
All the more reason for her to try to knock Charlotte off the pedestal to get to Asuka, which is probably what we're going to end up getting at Fastlane. Like it or not, I think that's where this is headed. In which case, I would dislike this promo even more. As we proceed, let's talk about programming that for people to go back and take a watch to. I just got the match lineup for tonight, Wednesday, for these shows. So if you are a diehard fan listening to this and didn't get a chance to watch these episodes, here's your match lineup for AEW Dynamite.
Charlotte is not bigger than the championship. You gotta go over there. You gotta stand over to the side. I want the champion because I want the pay window. I want the pay window. I want the big slice of pie. I want the championship segments. So if Charlotte ain't got the strap, we ain't worried about her.
All right, so we got tonight on 8.
Hell, because it's WWE, it's like anytime you start a promo with "Let me go," it's gonna sound like you want out of your contract.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's a huge WWE issue. No one should be talking about "Let me go" in any capacity. But
if
here we are.
Let me go, turn me loose, set me free. Any of those things that mean like let me have more television time to prove who I am. It's all going to sound like you want to get a release because it seems like everybody's unhappy. That's not her fault.
And here's a news flash. I don't care if they got 4 hours of TV time and 2 hours on YouTube. There ain't enough room in Jacksonville for all you motherfuckers. Badman Ting. Mm-hmm. All right, tonight
Badman Ting.
Tonight on AEW, Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT title. Matt Jackson versus Rey Fenix. Ethan Page who popped up at Revolution in the Casino Battle Royal or Casino Ladder match. Great addition to Impact, or to AEW rather. Right. Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson. In women's action,
Mr. 129 himself.
Yeah.
How many times has he lost since he ain't got another win? Has he?
He ain't losing. He ain't winning tonight either. Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Maki Ito and Nyla Rose versus Sakato Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. You see, we didn't talk about that match between Mizunami and Shida. Cody Rhodes in some sort of action is what it says. Inner Circle War Council, Shivani versus Sting, and we finally hear. Talks to Sting rather, and we finally hear from Christian Cage.
I want that segment cut. The War Council. I do not need a 20-minute Inner Circle segment. Like, condense that shit or start filming it and show me a montage. Like, do some cinematic stuff. I don't need them centering with a 20-minute segment anymore.
Well, here's another good one for you here. We have MLW Fusion on YouTube tonight. We have who's this? Medina versus Gringo Loco. Leo Rush. What is this? What is Leo doing here? Oh, he has a special invitation. We see Contra Unit. We have Kevin Koo versus ACH. We have the PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, top 5 middleweights. And for the main event, we have your MLW National Openweight Championship match. Alex Hammerstone, the champion, versus LA Park. That should be good. Why I brought those cards up is we don't even have a card that was posted that we see. Now it might be there, but NXT, where art thou? I'm sure there's a card that exists, but we haven't seen that. Oh, there it is. Okay, I take that back. Finn Balor versus Adam Cole for the championship. Regal makes 2 quote-unquote game-changing announcements. Io Shirai versus Toni Storm for the women's championship, and Kaden Carter versus Xia Li.
What's the over-under one of those earth-shattering announcements is moving to Tuesday?
It's probably pretty high because it's actually my next order of business. It's talking
up.
It's talking about the
it's called a segue, people.
April TV schedule, which is it's going to be crazy. Where are we at on this? Where's this thing at here? They can't even. Oh, I can't even spell my own damn word right.
Yikes.
Let's see here. There we go. All right, April TV, starting after Mania. April 7th, we have NXT and AEW Dynamite. April 8th is the NXT Takeover. What day is that on?
April 8th?
April 8th, yes.
That's a Thursday.
That must be an NXT UK takeover. It must be. There's no way I'm believing that that's going to be an actual NXT takeover.
April 8th is a Thursday, so maybe it's not Tuesday. Maybe it's Thursday.
We'll see. April 9th, SmackDown. This is pre-Mania. Oh, so they are going to have Mania on Peacock after all, because Mania is April 10th and 11th, not the 3rd and 4th.
The first Peacock pay-per-view is Fastlane. And then, the whole thing was to roll out Mania on Peacock, which is still like super stupid because you just won't have the full content library.
Yeah, you got to hope for issues to not be there. So Mania 1 and 2 on the 10th and the 11th. April 12th, and that's with the crowd, mind you, at Raymond James. Raw after Mania, and this is what I don't understand. This is not a good move in my opinion. Going head up against a Raw after Mania is AEW Elevation.
Wait. Well, Elevation is that going to be the second show on TNT, or is that another?
That's basically YouTube? It's basically dark on TNT.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
it's their equivalent of NXT.
I kind of see the purpose behind it, because on Wednesdays with NXT, you were basically splitting the audience. Either 50-50 or 60-40. Like, just, you were both counteracting the same audience. On Mondays, where people are disgruntled about their wrestling, you introduce a new product, and if it's any good, if you split the share on Monday, it's a different vibe.
Yeah, I don't know if you're really splitting the share on Monday versus getting defectors on Monday. But the Raw
splitting the difference. I mean, if you could split 60-40 with Raw, wouldn't you consider that a win?
That is a definite win for the Raw after Mania. It's the highest rated Raw of the year.
And then continuing therefore, going forward. Or if you could split 70-30 on a night after Mania.
Truth be told, like we'll say approximately 2 million viewers watch the Raw after Mania. If you get anywhere close to 500,000, it's a win.
See, so I mean, and there, they have enough of an audience that's just strictly AEW to pull that
easy.
They gonna get their 600,000 off top, and then because they're going head up with Raw, you might get some of that back and forth channel action, or you just might have a surge of AEW supporters that say, "I'm going over here." Because if Raw don't come out hot and stay hot, people gonna abandon ship because we've been dealing with it for too long.
You pulled just under 1 million with your curtain jerker being Cody and Red Velvet versus Shaq and what's my girl's name? Jay Cargill. You pulled just a hair under 1 million, while NXT ran flat at about 680,000. That's crazy. And NXT and AEW have been running neck and neck for weeks on end. Even though AEW has been, for the most part, edging out NXT, it's been pretty much the same audience. There was a noticeable difference last week. I don't think that's going to be a trend that's going to go away. April 12th, Raw After Mania and Elevation. April 13th, the debut of NXT on Tuesdays. Also, Impact. Also, the return of the NWA. Also, AEW Dark. Tuesdays are loaded. Tuesdays are how Wednesdays were 4 years ago, when Impact was on that was the Destination America. It was followed up with ROH. That people thought that was a huge time in the wrestling industry, which I think it was, because it was more wrestling on Wednesday. I think we talked about that for a minute too when we first started. We had the possibility in 2019 of having 18 hours of wrestling on TV per week.
Having something on every day.
And this is when New Japan was still on in the States.
That part, because you had, and SmackDown hadn't moved to Fridays yet.
And then Dynamite is still coming on the 14th. So that's 8 days worth of wrestling right there. We're talking 4, 6.5, 8.5. We'll say that's another 12 right there. So that's 20, 23, 25, 27, 29, 30, 32, 34 hours of wrestling in 7 days. Oh, in 8 days.
Burnout is absolute. This is where you have to fight against fatigue.
And you
can't get burnt out.
We're not talking MLW Fusion. We're not even talking ROH. We're not talking the indie shows that are happening the week of Mania.
Shout out to Jay Lethal getting a title shot at the end of March. So
that's all.
He'll actually be leading that off.
Jay Lethal versus Rush is going to be on the 26th of March for ROH. That's your main event. I believe Jay Lethal gets his title back because crowds are coming back. If there's no other reason for that to happen, there you go.
Fam. Oh no. I'm wrong. I almost said something totally wrong. But the 26th is a Friday.
Yes,
so
sir.
Go head over with SmackDown.
That's a ROH. That's a ROH pay-per-view staple days, Fridays. And I'm actually not opposed to getting that pay-per-view because their pay-per-views are usually about $20. I'm okay with doing that one.
Just so we can pay some respects to Jay Lethal, I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I want to see ROH's pay-per-view presentation in 2021. So I think I'm down for that.
Let's see here. I'm actually going to see what their card is.
Shout out to Raw Slice in the group. Remember when he put us up on a little game too? Yeah,
shouts out Raw Slice. Dig.
We're gonna come see you, fam.
All right, ROH 19th anniversary show. So far, only 2 matches have been called or have been touted for this. EC3 versus Jay Briscoe in a grudge match, and Rush, your champion, versus Jay Lethal for the challenger for the ROH World Championship.
See, that'll give me an opportunity to check out what work EC3 is doing in Ring of Honor. So,
yeah, something tells me like with that whole independent thing that he was doing up to the time he went, actually he left WWE and was going through the independence or whatever, and on his social media kick. I want to say he looks like more of a vigilante. So we'll see, especially going against Jay Briscoe on pay-per-view. I would hope so. In a grudge match, I would really hope so. I want to see a different, edgier EC3.
And you got to give credit to the predecessor to that whole movement, Cody Rhodes. His social media marketing for that whole tour of the Indies was like phenomenal. I've seen a lot of people try to replicate it and just not do it as well.
Their daddy is Matt Hardy. Give him a hand. Matt Hardy's their daddy. Before social media had an actual name, Matt Hardy did that when he left WWE. And he went to ROH, which is where he met his wife Rebby Hardy, and or Rebby Sky at the time, and the whole angle with Edge taking his old girl, which was Lita at the time, coming to fruition and being part of a storyline where Matt Hardy technically was quote unquote not signed to WWE, being part of a crowd and doing run-ins from the crowd where they couldn't even say his name even though everybody knew who he was. That groundswell started from being online, and Matt Hardy brand was born. Matt Hardy 2.0 is a product of the Matt Hardy brand that he started online after leaving WWE. If you care about wrestling enough to go dig deep into the archives of online wrestling lore and storytelling, look up Matt Hardy's beginnings online post-firing from WWE circa 2003 or 4, was it? Or was it later? I think it was 2003 or 4, sometime around then.
It's like 6, because they're the opening match of SummerSlam 2006.
Damn.
I think it's 2006 or 2008. Google and check my facts.
Man, human encyclopedia looking ass.
I mean, I do what I can.
We've said this numerous times on this show. We keep saying it. And there's a quote from Edge talking about who I consider and who we consider arguably to be the MVP of WWE, who is ironically MVP. Quote, "You have no idea what MVP and the rest of the Hurt Business have actually pulled off. He's a credit to the business, a mentor to those around him, and an example of always betting on yourself. He just makes WWE better." From Edge.
High praise from an astute mind.
A student of the game, if you will.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, celebrate your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, what MVP is doing is like the most incredible comeback run. Like, it's Jordan-esque. Had he been world champion before, it'd be like 23 to 45, back to 23 with the Wizards.
Right. If Jordan goes to Washington, becomes a role player, and takes them on a playoff run that includes a championship,
that's exactly what the Hurt Business is doing right now.
to
he
the letter.
Putting up 20, 30, and 40, carrying the Wizards to a playoff spot. Just so happens, like, it's not Kwame Brown playing with you. It's insert better center, as Bobby Lashley would. Yeah.
Impact Wrestling has a pay-per-view coming up where Kenny Omega will be defending the AEW world title there. And that's actually this coming Saturday at Sacrifice is the pay-per-view.
Is he going to sell his injuries from the barbed wire Call of Duty Sons of Anarchy death match? Alligator roll? Because if he doesn't sell those injuries, I'm gonna call bullshit.
I don't honestly think that you actually have to sell that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got touched with barbed wire and cut your face and cut your body.
This is what
I'm gonna sell that.
This is what I'm saying. It's gonna sell itself.
I'll post my iodine on your whole ass. I start selling.
Lay it in the cut, bitch.
Come out there with a squeeze bottle of 90% alcohol. We're gonna see where your heart at.
Oh man.
Oh, you mean you better sell.
Man, so only thing that we see for sure on this card is going to be Moose versus Rich Swann to unify the Impact and TNA world titles. Of course,
Moose should be the heater for Scorpio Sky. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah, you did. You definitely said that. Let's see if there's anything else I can see on here. Oh, Fire and Flavor. We got
what?
You heard what it said.
Fire and Flavor.
Yeah, Jordan Grace and Jazz versus Kimberly and Susan.
Okay,
Kimberly and Susan is Fire.
Of Doritos.
No, Fire and Flavor is Kimberly and Susan.
Okay, good job.
Yeah, so we have that match on the card. Jazz is doing a hell of a job keeping these women active on Impact. That's for damn sure.
Another unsung hero.
The Good Brothers versus FinJuice for the Impact World Tag Team titles, which this is FinJuice's first pay-per-view appearance stateside, which is Dave Finlay, Fit Finlay's son, and Juice Robinson, both of New Japan fame.
Why do I feel like they need a remake of Pimp Juice as their entrance music? I feel like I should be able to pull that off. They love me for my Fin Juice. You see what I'm saying? I think I'm about to yeah, I'm telling you.
I was wondering if I could still hit that shit.
that was for free. Oh no, it's not for free, because for a nominal fee.
No, don't
soon to be a phenomenal fee.
Oh man.
I will take some of this broken pencil knowledge, slice it off, and put it on your plate. I'd like to ask for a Zelle or a Cash App transfer.
No, you came out of no, not for that, man. I
lunch monies.
I hit
Come on with it. Hit the scholarship fund for me one time.
I hit it before you finish, fam.
Nah. It's like 75% of the promo had already been cut. You want to hit the music?
Oh man, see,
we call that a botch.
That's that bullshit. You trying to screw get my money? The Decay versus Reno Scum. That's a good tag team match. V60, which is where did this damn thing go? This website is janky as hell.
That sounds like a gaming computer, a V60.
Cody Deaner and Joe Doring versus James Storm and his tag team partner. Where did it go? There we go, Chris Sabin. And wasn't it and of course Eric Young is going to be at ringside for that one. It wasn't this whole tag team with James Storm and Chris Sabin coming to fruition because of the situation with
Alex Shelley.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean,
Alex Shelley is also like a frontline medical worker and has decided to discontinue wrestling for the time being as he continues his work on the front line. So
Godspeed.
We salute you.
Yeah, Scott. Godspeed. Peace and blessing to you. You know what I'm saying, Alex Shelley. Your work in the wrestling business won't be forgotten. But for the time being, keep doing the most out here for these good people in this world. So we'll recap that whole pay-per-view next week. Other things on the agenda: Johnny Ace is now the new JR in WWE. He's the head of talent relations for WWE.
Again.
Yeah. Again. I don't know how you lose and then come back.
Who was head of? Maybe we can Google this. Who was the head of talent relations from 2012 until now?
I see.
Was that Corano?
No, I think he had another position.
Because People Power had it from 04 to 12, something like that. Took the responsibility from JR, who did it essentially through the Attitude Era all the way up until the greatest draft class in the history of WWE. That's all under JR's watch. The Lesnar, Cena, Batista, Shelton, that class,
Orton,
Randy Orton, that's JR. That's under JR's watch.
And Mark Carrano was the previous. You're absolutely right.
And off the glass. .com.
Boy, you dunking tonight, man. Look at you.
.com.
What else we got here before we get up at this thing? Hall of Fame. So we found out that the Hall of Fame will be the Tuesday before WrestleMania and will include both the 2020 and the 2021 classes. The first inductee for the 2021 class, as we found out on the bump of all places.
Which, if you really want me to not see something, put it on the
bump. Molly Holly will be the first inductee this year, which I'm happy for. I think it's long overdue, but at this point, you're probably running out of names. And that's not a shot at her at all.
Maybe they're going in reverse order. Maybe they're working their way back up. Like, here's the not bottom of the list, but here's our foundation of our list, and we're going to build on top of it. Because I wouldn't assume that you would. Sometimes they lead with the big punch, and they lead and say, this is who's headlining the class. But, I mean, how do you, when you're adding to this year's class and you're still inducting last year's class, and that includes the NWO, how do you go bigger?
I prefer the sandwich approach. If you're going to do something like this where you have 5 or 6 people that you need to announce in a strategic amount of time, have a big enough name to draw attention. Put those lesser involved in the middle and cap it off with a blockbuster, because chances are that blockbuster is who's going to shut the show down. Last year, the first people you announced. Go ahead.
Last year's class includes Batista and, like I say, the NWO. Including Good Try Terry. So it's like you've already got a really stacked card from last year, and then we talked about it earlier. What month is this? What day just passed? So positive press by that being the first. I'm pretty sure because of stuff we see on our timelines, that's going to get a lot of praise. So it's still strategic. It's not the kind of bread you're used to.
Yeah, and speaking
of, it's still a sandwich, but it's like it's artisan bread.
And speaking of what day just passed, it was it yesterday or Monday?
Monday.
Monday was National Women's Day. And
International.
Oh, thank you. International Women's Day.
Produced by David Banner, featuring Outkast and Pimp C.
David Banner. You know, so thank you to all the women for all your contributions to society. We need you. Without you, we don't exist. It's really that simple. Last but certainly not least, Roman Reigns. Mr. Fine-Tune his promo, Mr. Hell of a Heel champion, Mr. Head of the Table Paul Heyman guy, has facilitated his fresh on social media and given us his tips on sneaker culture. Suave, here's where you flourish, sir.
Right. This is part of my wheelhouse, part of my domain. As we've had many conversations about WWE trying to expand their portfolio outside of just the average, everyday core wrestling fan, attracting air quotes the casual fan, and things like instituting Bad Bunny on television and having him be a part of the 24/7 division and eventually WrestleMania. That's one of those things they've done recently, kind of to expand the viewership coverage. And I feel like an equally sound investment, almost more so than dealing with, you know, rappers and pop stars and all that other stuff, is dealing with sneaker culture, because sneaker culture is international in the same way that their product is international. There are sneakerheads across every continent, all over the world, everywhere that Peacock and the WWE Network reach, they're available. So Complex has this show hosted by Joe, I fucked it up. But yes, he hosts this show where people get to talk about their love and passion for sneakers, what they prefer, what they did growing up, XYZ. And then at the end of it, they essentially pay inflated resale prices for different shoes just to kind of show what their taste is like. I don't know if they end up comping anything or there's a discount involved, but either way, it's become famed. Shane McMahon's been on there. Kofi Kingston's been there. Just about everybody who's anybody in the rap and entertainment realms. Like it's been movie stars, it's been rappers, singers, wrestling personalities.
Don't just poo-poo the fact that you said Shane McMahon and Kofi Kingston have been on there. Those two are, when we see them on TV, the first place our eyes go to is their feet. We look for their sneakers. Shane-O has been known for having some exclusives, some early releases prior to release. And Kofi usually has some low-hanging fruit, but it's heat.
Man, now a couple of times he done had like some major situations on his feet. Like he did he had customized I don't want to forget the name of the shoe, but the Air Mag. It was the Air Mag reproduction in the low top self-lacing sneaker. He's had I don't want to forget the designer of the Adidas, but with the gold wings. Okay. All my sneaker culture just going right out the window. But yeah, and I'm in a segment talking about sneaker culture. But Enzo Amore has been on there as well, so I didn't want to leave Enzo out. But it's a brand unto itself. So watched on YouTube, so it's free to stream. Episodes are like 10 minutes long. Roman, he presented very well, like he has been. It's more heel, less head of the table type situation, but it's a different environment. Very candid, very open. Bought shoes for himself, his wife, kids, whole thing. Spent about $1,500. The reach on that episode, and then encompassing everything else as far as when you see something with a WWE talent attached to it, you usually gravitate towards it. Getting more involved in sneaker culture is as good of a move, if not a more sound move, than getting in bed with rappers, singers, entertainers.
Facts. No doubt. And I can't think of a better way to end it, man. So as part of iMock, you ended it. We started cool. We ended it cool. Show at brokenpencilbc.com, brokenpencilbc at gmail.com, brokenpencilbc on all things social. That's at brokenpencilbc on what?
Everything.
Late as hell. Yo, man, take us to the house, man.
Pencil pushers. Heads up. Pencils down.
I told Petty I was gonna do it.
You let Black Lesnar influence you.
Oh, this is what makes us the worst podcast in history
of all time. Like this is the trash behavior that we just look down on when we watch television.